Do you see that? Let me show you. That is the first blackberry to turn red. This is a boysenberry bush. So that red berry is very, very tart and not delicious. And I see my birds know a little something about blackberries because they are not over here checking this out. They know this is not a raspberry bush. They are waiting for it to turn black. I tell you, people say bird brains, but the more I'm around birds, the less I kind of think they're a little smarter than we give them credit for. That's it. But that was my first berry to form. It formed a few weeks before the others, and you can see the others are not as thick and as long. I'm just showing them to you. I even have a few flowers still popping up if I can find it. There's a flower still popping up. I tell you, the bees made it their business. Every berry on this plant was fertilized. I should probably give the wasp a little credit too, because every time I'm in the garden, he's always right there. So see him hiding behind the leaf. I'm not going to pull the leaf back and show him to you guys. I've never been bit by California wasps, and they're always in the garden with me. I think they're very tame, but I'm not going to check him. There he is. This is my first boysenberry that's going to be ripe. It is huge. See it against my hand? It's bigger than the first joint of my thumb. Oh my God, I can't believe how huge that boysenberry is. They do not get that size in the store. I don't know how they get them ripe. If they're like mine, I don't know how they get them ripe smaller. See, my fingernail, my finger's next to my berry. This berry is as big as a strawberry. So it's not ready yet. They say they get darker than that because they are a blackberry, not a raspberry. So it is a maroon color now, and we're all still waiting. I wonder if it's gonna get bigger than that. Amazed. This is the first blackberry of the season. This is a boysenberry, and look how it is shaped, just like a strawberry. I am celebrating this. Although I've been growing berries all of my life in Southern California, up until recently, I was growing berries that didn't really fruit in my area, or I was growing berries in conditions where they could only give me a few berries. I've never seen a berry bush filled with berries like this one, and I wasn't sure that I would beat the birds out here and even be able to harvest any fruit because I refuse to cage. I will feed the wildlife to the ability that God gives me. But when I had this chance to pull a berry, I realized I've never pulled a blackberry off the vine before, and I don't know how. Finally, I figured it out. I'm elated. I didn't want to mess up the other berries on there. It came off complete, delicious, intact. It was a pretty feisty berry, I have to say for myself. This is a moment to all you gardeners who garden for the love of gardening, and maybe you aren't successful all the time. If you keep at it, one day, the Lord will smile on your garden and you'll be able to harvest a crop that has been forgotten in the home garden. And it'll be beautiful for you, just the same as it was for me. I'm not eating this berry here because I'm going to share the first berry that I've ever harvested from my garden. I never harvested a blackberry in Southern California. I'm going to share it with my family because I want them to know that I finally did it. If I eat the fruit, they may not believe me. I've been growing berries for years and have only harvested, the odd plant that I grow in a container. But this is grown in the ground like a regular farmer would do, I suppose. I was blessed with this. Even though I tend my garden every day, I just don't think that I could have done this, except, God was kind to me this year, and he said, I'm going to make sure, after all her hard work, she finally gets a harvest. We'll see if I get any others after this. FYI, I still picked it a day early. Tomorrow it would be much sweeter, and now I know that, but it was delicious. My family enjoyed it as well, and my next hope is that I would be able to pick enough berries to make a berry cobbler. If I get to make that berry cobbler, you guys will all hear about it. I will definitely film that and put the recipe on here. I make a really good berry cobbler. Just always had to buy my berries from the store. Even though I've been buying berry plants from Home Depot, bare root, for 20 years. And none of those plants grew in Southern California. Finally, they started putting berry plants in our stores that actually fruit in our area. And the one I got here is a boysenberry. So, there's hope for your garden too. My plant looks good. Oh, and FYI, guys, I found a rabbit in my berry patch. Uh-oh. I don't know what that means, but I suspect I'll learn. Right next to the boysenberry bush, which is loaded with green boysenberries right now, a family of finches enjoy mustard seeds that are drying out on, I guess I should call this a mustard bush by now because it's quite tall. It's dead and it's full of birds. Oh my goodness, where did all these cantaloupe seed come from? How many cantaloupe plants do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3. You see all those little seedlings that are popped up? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 seedlings in a 2 by 2 foot space. That's way too many. So I'm going to have to thin these, but I'm going to try to transplant them. Melons are notorious for not wanting to be transplanted, but if I can't transplant, I'll lose them anyway, so I'm going to try. Sorry, this is not the best view. I'm going after this one right here, hoping it doesn't have a tap in it yet. And I don't know how well I'm going to do. Let me see what we got. Have we got you? Okay, I think I got one. I think I caught it before it laid that taproot in. I think it just seeded out. Let me see if I can grab this guy too. These are just tiny melons, so they can grow pretty close to each other, but I don't want them that close. So those two. I'm just going to try to replant these. Didn't even wilt, so that's a good sign. Same with that one. It acts like it doesn't even know. I did move them to a little bit shadier area, And so we're good. If you avoid pesticides in your garden and find a more natural way to deal with your environment, then you will have live bees. I do not have a bee farm anywhere close to me, but any bee in my area comes to my garden every day because it's a safe spot. If you put pesticides on your vegetables, you will have to hand pollinate them. You will have to do what this bee is doing. And I am telling you, as one human being to another, I do not have time to go through a sunflower plant and pollinate each and every kernel inside of it. So if I were to pollinate this sunflower plant, there would probably only be 1 or 2 seed in it. All you have to do is refuse to buy pesticide. When you first do it, you're going to go through some headache because we live in a modern world and we have not learned to share our world with other animals. But if you put the pesticide aside, get rid of your fertilizer, your chemical fertilizer, then eventually your garden will go back to a more natural state. You will get food from it like I do. It didn't happen right away because this garden was sick from all the contaminants that people in suburban areas have been putting in it. And let stuff go to flower. Let everything go to flower. Eat your part and then leave the rest because it belongs to somebody else in the garden. Some little creature is depending upon you to go back to the true Eden. In Eden, human beings were the providers for every little creature on earth. Feed the bees. Oh, and Jesus loves you. I love you too, with all that Jesus in me. And I'd appreciate a comment and a subscription. Hope to see you again soon.